Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to our beloved lecturer Dr. Wan Mariam. Our group would like to present our assignment 2 on policy implementation. Okay, for the first instruction in this assignment is to identify an issue related to environmental degradation or aquatic resources conservation. So we choose an issue on aquatic resources conservation. Okay, for the issue identification, fisheries activity is important towards humans' life as a source of income and as a primary source of protein. With the increasing of human population, the demands towards fishes increase. This will lead to overfishing that will make fish stock in the ocean will deplete. This overfishing can lead to the ecosystem in the ocean collapse due to the keystone species being removed to fill off the human demand. Thus, the issue that threatens the aquatic resources is overfishing. But the second instruction in this assignment is to explain how the implementation of a policy will resolve this overfishing issue. The objective of the policy is to prevent overfishing and rebuild the areas that are overfished. Second, to standardize the fishery management plans, objectives, and criteria to determine the stock status. And last objective is to reduce the number of bycatch and protect fish habitats for fish reproduction and survival. The implementation of the policy needs all the parties to cooperate to achieve successful management. Okay, Nurin.
So last instruction is to explain all steps of how the policy to be made. So there are 8 steps to develop a policy, which is first is issue identification. Second is policy analysis. So we move to the policy analysis. We have the Fisheries Act 1985. So this act is the main legislation that govern and implemented to manage, develop, and conserve and control marine fishing and marine fisheries resources for Malaysian fisheries waters. So in this act, for any fishing activities, a valid fishing gear license and a valid fishing vessels are required. So in Malaysia, there are a total of 1951 species of freshwater and marine fishes. However, according to Chon et al. 2010, almost half, which is about 48% of fishes, are currently threatened mainly by overfishing, bycatch, and habitat modification. So, consistent with our topic, which is overfishing, overfishing occurs due to high and growing demand for seafood, particularly in Southeast Asia. This is because people in Southeast Asia is really depend on marine resources for food and income. Besides that, they also use the fishing activities as an income for the fishermen. So this can occur in a large scale, which is they can practice this without impunity. Next is policy instrument development. So for policy instrument development, Fisheries Act 1985 has undergone several amendments till 2012 to strengthen the governance in Malaysian water. This legislation provides regulatory and enforcement measures to combat the unauthorized marine-related activities. Besides that, Malaysia also developed Malaysian National Plan of Action accordance with the 2001 FAO International Plan of Action to prevent, deter, and eliminate illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Besides that, the plan also has been used as the national blueprint to combat the IUU fishing in Malaysia.
The next step is consultation. Consultation is important to obtain the points of view of relevant stakeholders regarding the policy documents. It takes place before and after the policy documents were drafted. Consultation helps to gain as much feedback as possible from the stakeholders, and it also builds knowledge and awareness among the stakeholders group. Consultation also helps to identify champions who can assist with our policy implementation and improvement down the road. The next step is coordination. Coordination is the purposeful alignment of units, roles, responsibilities, and efforts in order to attain a common goal. It is about adjusting the actions and decisions of an organization to achieve the targeted goals. Stakeholders is involved in the decision-making process or any policy actions. And the upper authorities have to coordinate well with the other party to help successful in the policy implementation.
The next step in developing a policy following coordination is the decision. The first point in decision step is that it is the most significant. This is because the most significant and awaited stage in the formulation of a policy is the adoption, or also called as decision making. In policy, a decision is the step where a conclusion or resolution is reached after consideration of a few things beforehand. Adoption is the stage during policy making in which decisions are made at governmental level with several approaches in order to resolve a given problem or issue. The next point in this step is that it requires opinion from all. In this case, a decision making or adoption is to be made by considering all opinions and voices from authorities starting from top to bottom. An example of bottom authorities that need to be taken into consideration is public. Public engagement in formulating a policy is very important to ensure the policy to be implemented successfully. And the last point is an example of event resulted from implementation of policy, which is called as spillover event. For example, the implementation of policy in IUU fishing will stop fishermen from fishing or non-stop harvesting the fish stock. The fishery law and regulation that limits the boundary for fishermen to fish will give adequate time for all living life, such as in coral reef, to replenish. In this event, coral reef area that act as a nursery ground for many life will start to grow. And when a certain area starts to grow, it will cause the nearby area to grow as well. And this will result in increase in fishery stock for livelihood and economic growth. The next step is implementation. In implementation, the policy's implementation parameters are established and the outcome of the policy will be determined at this stage. According to an article on the long-term solution, IUU fishing is a major impediment to the long-term sustainable development of fisheries. This is because IUU fishing will damage the environment and also threaten marine biodiversity, as it reverses the effect of implementing policy that aim at preserving fish stock and protecting ecosystem. Next point is that there are numerous positive effects or outcomes from existing policy. One of it is that it shows how helpful and significant a policy is in long and short term. For example, in solving the global challenges, which is replenishing and recovering the depleted fish stock. And the last point is strict law enforcement. It is important to have a strict law enforcement, and it is necessary to enable penalties or prosecute fish crime when there is breaching of the policy. The last step in policy making is the evaluation. The evaluation of the project is necessary. This is because evaluation is important from time to time to see whether the management plan that has been implemented is successful or not.
Alright, last but not least, for the conclusion, overfishing is a critical issue that needs a serious and immediate action to conserve aquatic species from extinct. This policy is to secure sustainable fisheries in the future. It requires worldwide participation through a strict policy. This effort needs all parties to cooperate and be responsible for any action being taken. These are the list of references that we use in our study. That's all from us. Thank you.